Zombies are a value stock. They are wordless and oozing and brain dead, but they're an ever-expanding market with no glass ceiling. Zombies are a target-rich environment, literally and figuratively. The more you fill them with bullets, the more interesting they become. Roughly 5.3 million people watched the first episode of The Walking Dead on AMC, a stunning 83% more than the 2.9 million who watched the season 4 premiere of Mad Men. This means that there are at least 2.4 million cable-ready Americans who might prefer watching Christina Hendricks if she were an animated corpse. In My Zombie Myself, Why Modern Life Feels Rather Undead, Chuck Klosterman compares the living dead to the lack of life we sometimes feel. What makes this measured amplification curious is the inherent limitations of the zombie itself. You can't add much depth to a creature who can't talk, doesn't think, and whose only motive is the consumption of flesh. You can't humanize a zombie unless you make it less zombie-esque. There are slow zombies and there are fast zombies, and that's pretty much the spectrum of zombie diversity. It's not that zombies are changing to fit the world's condition, it's that the condition of the world seems more like a zombie offensive. Something about zombies is becoming more intriguing to us, and I think I know what that is. Zombies are just so easy to kill. When we think critically about monsters, we tend to classify them as personifications of what we fear. Frankenstein's monster illustrated our trepidation about untethered science, Godzilla was spawned from the fear of the atomic age, and werewolves feed into an instinctual panic over predation and man's detachment from nature. Vampires and zombies share an embedded anxiety about disease. It's easy to project a symbolic relationship between zombies and rabies, or zombies and the pitfalls of consumerism, just as it's easy to project a symbolic relationship between vampirism and AIDS, or vampirism and the loss of purity. From a creative standpoint, these fear projections are narrative linchpins. They turn creatures into ideas, and that's the point. What if contemporary people are less interested in seeing depictions of their unconscious fears and more attracted to allegories of how their day-to-day existence feels? That would explain why so many people watched the first episode of The Walking Dead. They knew they would be able to relate to it. A lot of modern life is exactly like slaughtering zombies. If there's one thing we all understand about zombie killing, it's that the act is uncomplicated. You blast one in the brain from point-blank range, preferably with a shotgun. That's step 1. Step 2 is doing the same thing to the next zombie that takes its place. Step 3 is identical to Step 2, and Step 4 isn't any different from Step 3. Repeat this process until A, you perish, or B, you run out of zombies. That's really the only viable strategy. Every zombie war is a war of attrition. It's always a numbers game, and it's more repetitive than complex. So in other words, zombie killing is philosophically similar to reading and deleting 400 work emails on a Monday morning, or filling out paperwork that only generates more paperwork, or following Twitter gossip out of obligation, or performing tedious tasks in which the only true risk is being consumed by the avalanche. The principal downside to any zombie attack is that the zombies will never stop coming. The principal downside to life is that you will never be finished with whatever it is you do. This is our collective fear projection, that we will be consumed. Zombies are like the internet and the media and every conversation we don't want to have. All of it comes at us endlessly and thoughtlessly, and, if we surrender, we will be overtaken and absorbed. Yet, this war is manageable, if not necessarily winnable. As long as we keep deleting whatever's directly in front of us, we survive. We live to eliminate the zombies of tomorrow. The difference with zombies, of course, is that it's possible to like a specific vampire temporarily, which isn't really an option with the undead. Characters like Mr. Pattinson's Edward Cullen in Twilight, and Anne Rice's Lestat de Lioncourt, and even boring old Count Dracula can be multidimensional and erotic. It's possible to learn who they are and who they once were. Vampire love can be singular. Zombie love, however, is always communal. If you dig zombies, you dig the entire zombie concept. It's never personal. You're interested in what zombies signify, you like the way they move, and you understand what's required to stop them. And this is a reassuring attraction because those aspects don't really shift. We all know how this goes. If you wake from a coma and you don't immediately see a member of hospital staff, assume a zombie takeover has transpired during your incapacitation. Don't travel at night and keep your drapes closed. Don't let zombies spit on you. If you knock a zombie down, direct a second bullet into its brainstem. But above all, do not assume that the war is over, because it never is. The zombies you kill today will merely be replaced by the zombies of tomorrow. But you can do this, my friend. It's disenchanting, but it's not difficult. Keep your finger on the trigger, continue the termination, don't stop believing, don't stop deleting. Return your voicemails and nod your agreements. This is the zombies world, and we just live in it. But we can live better.